everybody. This is Magic Maddie here. I hope you're all having a good day so far. If so, awesome. Keep it up. If not, that's okay. Take care of yourselves. Stay hydrated and nourished. All the same, everybody. Welcome to PersonaCon 2025. I have been around the block here since 2021 when my significant other at the time. Still good friends though nowadays. Pig Dude and I would co-host several panels a year. Um, he also ended up super busy with college, but even so, it was like, I mean, like, hey, that's okay. That's his thing. He's doing great in college. I can vibe with PersonaCon though in a similar fashion. So that's one of the few things I try to keep a yearly summer tradition, for lack of a better word. And I'm really impressed with the lineup we've got this year, and I hope you're all excited for the rest too. But that was later, and then partially then, if you were at some of the earlier panels here with Ultima, Sumi, and whatnot. Really great stuff so far. And this is now the chat and chill power hour. What I suppose what is the apparatus Mirandi, or I don't know if you want to put it in game objective terms. Um, Give Curly his fucking medicine. Sorry, that was a bit of a. Actually, no. No matter how low my self confidence is, I better not pretend I'm anywhere near that like fucking cunt. But I digress. If you've never played mouthwashing, that's okay. It's considered an inside joke. I really watch only people, just a bunch of people play it a few times, and I'm like, this is too fucked for me to play it myself. But I digress. So, ladies, gentlemen, and comrades, welcome to the Chat and Chill Power Quote Unquote Hour. Seems like power hours and or power minutes are never an hour or minute, but you know what? That's okay. They'll be so fun and or long and or short. They feel like power hours or power minutes. Nintendo minutes, RIP. But I digress. I don't I don't even know if last year being the first iteration of this really ever had a theme per se. But this year we do kind of have a more like I don't know, slightly less broad and vague theme, which is focusing and jumping around to what I in the most cryptic yet catchy way I can put it, canon, headcanon, favorites. And even that is a little bit of layman's terms. Basically, whether it's through live in the chat for this panel, right here at panel in chat and chill, not to be confused with the panel 2 chat. That's not the right one. But in the chat and chill chat or the thread connected to it, your anecdotes in advance go here. Y'all can jot out some, I don't know, some like prompts for lack of a better word, and we can take them. We can either, at the very least, kind of be like, oh, so based, or oh, that's so cool, or oh, I need to call 911. That just hurt me and I'm dying from that little detail you picked out about, I don't know, Persona 3's January 31st or March, et cetera, or even something from Metaphor or whatnot. Um, or we can actually just take it and build off of it. Be like, yes, and you'll be like the masters of improv at the end of this with how much yes and we'll be doing with everybody's like personal headcanons on characters, favorite characters, games. It could be as simple as like I like Persona 3 the most in this series because blah da 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 da. Or my favorite Atlas game is Catherine because da ba da ba da ba. It could be as simple as that, or it can be like, hey, even though canon really didn't give us time to explore this, or really didn't have the time to, which is fine. I would personally propose that Shinjiro is bawling as a small little hobby off screen, for lack of a better word. Stuff like that, or like, oh, I personally like a romance. I personally think the romance between, say, Rize and Naoto would be super cute, or Kanji and Naoto would be really fun. Hello, chat and chillers. Thank you, John and Palace. Well, you can join us, chatters and chillers, when you're home. I always got this recording anyway, so you can always look up my VOD on my YouTube channel, but that's a whole other story in itself. So hopefully that all makes sense. Hopefully, relatively, more or less. Hopefully, say that 10 times fast. I don't even know how many hopefully's were already in there, but currently crunching a cosplay for tomorrow. Ooh, nice. Have fun, Sumi. Honestly, I salute the hard work. Keep up the hard work. Unless you generally like collapse from lack of water, in which case, please God hydrate, and then you can get back to cosplay and or con crunching. um, but I digress. So hopefully the name of the game or the apparatus mirandi comes across okay. Basically, we're being geeks. We're being geeks. I do want to keep things a little more positive oriented, but if anybody once on a blue moon here wanted to jot down like I personally wasn't a big fan of this thing, and personally, I don't know how if other people can give it the benefit of the doubt, but I would rewrite it as da 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 da, or I think this character is great, but I feel like this one scene of theirs could have been better done, and I would step into the writer's room like, okay, we're gonna do it like ba da ba da ba. Yeah, we're a couple nerds. We rewrite the scripts that will never become canon just because we want to. We will it into existence. Yeah, we're a whole server of them. You know what? That's true. We might be a whole whopping 1397 members right now, but no, I did not just look that up. No, I did not. No, I did not. But that's okay. That means we're all in this together. Even if you're not all in panel two, you're all in this with us. You're all in this with the rest of us. But I digress. So hopefully that makes sense. Um, Oh, also something else that maybe isn't like super positive oriented or favor oriented, but might be a good prompt. Well, we'll probably do some like maybe I could turn this into some shitty creative writing, frantic fanfic ripoff panel next year. Um, what also could work could be like, hey, I personally am not a big fan of this character or this game, or I personally probably need a better perspective on why people think this ship or romance route could possibly work. Um, Kind of just being like, hey guys, hey people who like this thing, can you give it some benefit of the doubt because I either don't see it or I'm just not a big fan of it. Obviously, keep things positive oriented, but if you wanted to, I don't know, tell people about how much you disliked the one scene in all Persona 5 I personally disliked too, um, then, like, yeah, you could try that. It's up to you guys. But I digress. So, with that being said, let's see what's going on in the thread. I got all these, we got a lot of anecdotes, opinions, headcanons, likes, etc. Um, Going on already as is in the thread here. You can always jot them down right away now during the panel, or I'm keeping up with the actual panel chat on my phone as well, so it could really go either way. And like I said, everybody, we're here to kind of pat each other on the backs for our takes and opinions and headcanons and favorites and all that. So please chime in the chat. Um, Only chime into the thread if it's actually a contribution akin to everything else in there right now. But otherwise, especially in chat and chill, go off. Even if it's as simple as a GIF in reaction or an OMG or taking a selfie of you crying, but it's so dark in your room or it's so bright in your room we can't see you crying, but that's okay. Chin up. I don't want to see y'all crying. Persona 3 can't be that depressing and life shattering, right? Or 5, or 2, or the other 2, 2 1 or 2 2, or 2-1. Anyways, so as long as, hopefully, I don't know, hopefully any of this will make sense. Basically, let's geek out. Let's geek out. So, first of all, we have this comment from Let me see here. Actually, yes, we have from John and Pals here. The Persona remake will be good and have lots of the things we want: updated dungeons, more character stuff, improved models, etc., etc. And personally, I would agree. I could still take into account like the criticisms people might or might not have had, or just kind of like there or not there about Persona 3 Reload. And I would still say to this, yes. If you're wondering what my take on Persona 3 Reload is for background, and I'm sure it's different for everybody here, personally, I really, really loved Reload. A few, I think, like stylistic, um, uh, like little bumps in the road here or there. Like sometimes things were like super pretty, but maybe not like very atmospheric or intentionally, I don't know, alien or just kind of creepy to look at. Like, yes, certain lines or like scenes in the art of a cutscene look kind of funky and kooky and kind of freakish. And I understand that, but I understand that that's kind of in the way the point. Also, let me I would say this is another kind of category. This is giving me kind of other title card vibes. Um but I would say, at least for me, in all other aspects, the pros would outweigh the cons for me when it comes to Persona 3 Reload. Obviously, people can completely agree with that or completely disagree with that. Um, I think that's I think that's totally fair. But when it comes to the Persona 3 remake, irregardless, this is irregardless of whether it'll actually show up at Summer Games Fest this weekend or not. When it does happen, I do think that in a similar manner for maybe people like myself, or maybe to everybody, irregardless of what they thought of Reload or how they think that'll go down, I think for the most part that will go down similarly. Again, not to say that Reload is exempt from criticism, or, or that it's not exempt, or that like everybody needs to go off on how terrible this is no matter how much they actually loved Reload. Same with Persona 4. Might there be some cons? Sure. Could those cons outweigh the pros for some people? Sure, fair enough. We always got golden anyway. Um, but does that mean the pros don't outweigh the cons for everybody? No. I do think that to some extent, um, they can make a lot of updates to Persona 4 that would be very welcomed. I do think that compared to FES and or Portable, there was a lot more to improve on with Reload or the Persona 3 remake when we didn't even know it was really happening. Whereas with Persona 4 Golden, I do feel like there's not a whole lot of changes to make right now aside from, just simple graphic makeovers and whatnot. But again, as with Reload, you can get creative, add in some linked episodes, or like even just kind of expand on certain character stories in another way. I think there's a lot that can still be done with a Persona 4 remake. I personally do believe that we could have given Persona 4 remake, if we actually aren't and it's not showing up for a good while. Um, I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't matter how substantial the evidence seems, I'm always going to take possible leaks or rumors with a grain of salt. Um, Again, maybe too much skepticism from my end, but still. I think I would be looking forward to a Persona 4 remake, but would have preferred a remake to other games like Persona 1 or 2 since they're older. Says Sweaty Face in the chat, to which I would have to agree as well. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to say that a Persona 4 remake isn't completely off the table still. I personally would have given it a couple of years. Um, but if but I'd rather see a remake of that now than a remake of Persona 5. It's my favorite game of all time, but I'm not going to act like it's perfect. But I'm also not going to act like it is ripe for the remake, taken remaking, for lack of a better word. I think at that point we're kind of kind of jumping the shark a little bit. But remaking Persona 1 and the 2 duology, in my opinion, hell yeah. I was initially none too adverse to a Persona 4 remake for a number of reasons, but I think the Twitter discourse surrounding the remake inflated whatever reactions I had to a point where I've disengaged enough to say I personally do not mind. I would say so too. I would say so too. Also, why I avoid Twitter. I agree with both Sweaty Face and Nor in chat there as well. Um, Again, Would I prefer Persona 1 and or 2 remake? Absolutely. But do I think a Persona 5 remake should come before a Persona 4 remake? Hell no. I'll take a 4 remake. And if it's not up to your taste, that's okay. Like with Persona 3, if Persona 4 remain wine mind designed to make bake, if it's not up to your taste, you always got golden. And I would say there was a lot more to that than Persona 3's FES and our portable, depending on who you ask. So that's my take on it. So from Nor here also, very hashtag self-indulgent entry here. As if a lot of these aren't going to be self-indulgent to an extent. Don't worry, I feel you. I feel you. Oh, real quick from Oristar on that last point. I think people just went nuts over the old VAs saying they didn't get callbacks to voice their characters. I would agree. I would agree. Like, don't get me wrong, having Yuri Lowenthal and Aaron Fitzgerald not return is a bummer. But with Persona 3, bringing in the old cast for cameos, but otherwise bringing a new cast into the main cast, not only would I be shocked if they somehow ditched that right away for Persona 4, went back to the same old, and while I do think it's definitely a bummer that people who are able to still take on those voices, like Yuri, for example, can't come back, and I would agree that is pretty disheartening. I gotta admit, his Yosuke was iconic, absolutely. I'd be lying to say I'd be lying to say I have zero interest in getting new people into these iconic roles, you know? That's just my take, anyways. Unfortunately, as much as I love being middle of the road, best of both worlds, however irrational it is, I genuinely cannot rationalize how a best of both worlds scenario works, where you get the old VAs and new VAs, each as the same one character. Get Yuri Lowenthal and, I don't know, Dan Aykroyd as Yosuke, and you can like just flip flop between the old and new voices. I don't know how that's gonna work, and I don't think, unfortunately, it's in the budget or priorities for Atlas, for better and for worse. So that's my take on it. I wish we could have a Yuri Lowenthal, but hey, assuming it's still coming this year, honestly, bring it in new cast, give them some time. Definitely go back to Golden if you miss Aaron and Amanda and I forget who comes after Laura Bailey for Rize. Fucking damn it. Um, it's all, and then give the new voice actors some support. And if you don't like their performances, that's okay. Just don't be a piece of shit to them. It should be golden. I don't see the issue. So yeah, absolutely. So from Noir, Nor, Norman, very self-indulgent entry here. Again, we're all gonna be there with you. But I personally love and or don't mind nationality or ethnicity headcanons, provided they're harmless and with innocuous noble intent. I like it when people use these headcanons as the way to see themselves represented through a character or to learn more about a different history, um, or to learn more about a different history as opposed to just culturally appropriating things or to culturally appreciate things. One of my favorite personal headcanons to expand on is an ethnicity one. Whenever a character is mentioned to be mixed or have lived somewhere else, exciting. And hey, I think I've seen that former example you give. I think I've seen them around. But no, honestly, I would say the same too. I never really thought about my own, mostly because I don't know. I just kind of am just like, oh, okay. Most of these characters are Japanese. You got somebody who's also British, somebody who is a quarter American. Never heard of those two before. I definitely don't know who they are. um, but like they give us a relative like barrier or like relative idea with the canon location. Oh, okay. Everybody but like one or two people are fully Japanese. All right. But if people wanted to, and I know this is a real one, I just forget who made it, that I believe Yusuke, um, I believe they apparently headcanon him as being, oh, fuck. I believe it was, Malaysian? Malaysian? Or I suppose like he was of both, Japanese and I believe descent? Filipino? No, he's British. First, not so fun, but maybe kind of funny or stupid story. For some reason, I always thought Yusuke had a British accent until I realized what the fuck an actual British accent sounded like, and I'm like, oh, that's not British. He just has a noble lilt, but it's not an accent. So yes, I'm maybe a little stupid. Sorry. but but no, like actually Yusuke, I believe somebody had canon him as I believe they called it Blasian or like a mix of like a portmanteau of the words Asian and black. And I forget for the life of me what country they said he was from, but I was like, I don't know anything about that country, but if I look into it and see what their culture is like, especially in the fine arts, that might actually be kind of based. They might actually be onto something. Atlas will make a mod that, you know, accounts for these different ethnicity headcanons this one person made up. But you know what? That's okay. It's an actual mod for the game in my heart. um, and I found it kind of cool because it's like characters I didn't think were more than just Japanese, which isn't a bad thing. Like, no, not at all. Were interpreted as Japanese, but also Indian or actually fully French. Akechi, the shaggy hair says it all. He's from he's from Finland. Even on shaking and crying on not having full Finnish descent like Akechi, and I'm like, no, he's more Finnish than her. Let's fucking kill him. So but no, I saw all those like different ethnicity headcanons from somebody, and it was actually I actually found it kind of cool. Maybe not something I was subscribed to, but something I found to be kind of fun as well, similar to what Nor's saying here. And then you see a bunch of other people in chat being like, again, maybe not like maybe they're not committing tax evasion or going to rob this person's bank account, but they're still just kind of being bitches about it, like, oh, well, this isn't a thing. This is cringe. This is stupid. I'm gonna headcanon people of color is white now because of this. And it's like, okay, well, one, ew, especially for that last bit. And two, um, like here and then hearing that I think it's ew, Grok, the creators of the Grok bot on Twitter fell to their knees in absolute disrepair. um, but yeah. Oh yes, the Persona 3 Reload voice actor crew. Since we were mentioning voice actors earlier with that last uh thread chat, absolute kings and queens, absolute royalty for sure, for sure. Amen. But yeah, no, it's like honestly, especially when they're not being racist about it and saying that, oh, because of this, I'm gonna turn POC fictional characters white. Yeah, I know that's being cringe. I do think it's relatively dead, especially since anti-cringe culture tends to really fuck over what could be great potential being tapped into. But I mean, I don't know. I guess I don't make the rules of the world. Not yet, anyway. So that's my take on it. I don't know. Honestly, I don't mind it, especially when it can be, very like not at all racist, but actually kind of interesting and maybe a way to, yeah, culturally appreciate as opposed to appropriate where people come from, especially if it is very self-indulgent. Honestly, bring it on. Bring it on. You know, that's my take on it. Like a friend of mine, shout out to Isa. I believe headcanon's on as half or partial Colombian. I believe, um, just because they're also part or half Colombian as well. And I'm like, yeah, this is true. This is true. And then maybe once it leaves my mind, I'm like, okay, yeah, Aunt's from wherever. She's quarter American, sure. But then when I think about it, it's like, oh yeah, half and or part Colombian. I forgot exactly how they said it. So that's my take on that too. What's yours, everybody? I'm sorry. That was real. That was a little funnier in my head. Um, from No Brick here. I'm not very good at these, but this is something that's been on my mind recently. But what types of games would the Persona 5, 4, and 3 cast play? Honestly, I'm personally going to throw in 1 and 2. I have barely played 2, but understand the basics of the story for it for 1 and 2. If anybody wants to throw in those, although I'm going to request that everybody keep their shots on that to either 1 or 2 specific games for a character or for any specific characters or any of the whole groups or like certain archetypes of characters across the games. Try to keep it to certain genres or subgenres or series at large. But again, if you want to go like this one specific Mario game or this very particular obscure PS Vita game, would be right up fucking Teddy's alley, be my guest. Just try to keep that to a minimum. So yeah, I don't know, just like in the chat, personally, if I can shoot out mine first off. Actually, no, Futaba's gonna be playing the whole gambit, so I'm just not gonna open that can of worms with her. Not my fault. She's a gamer girl. It's her fault that there's no way in hell I'm gonna open that can of worms myself. Nato would play Tetris and be bad at it. You know what? True. I could see that. Naoto would be like trying really desperately to make a macro strategy for the game, but it turns out that like at least starting out, just just let the blocks fall the fuck down, match the colors. There's not much to it beyond that at first. Maybe later I'll do something, but for right now, chill the fuck out. Spend so much time in her head trying to figure out how to macro strategy though that oh well, she's already gone. So Futaba Omori, as somebody who has not played Omori but has heard fantastic things about it, how dare you? Let's all celebrate everybody's headcanons and personal opinions. Anyways, this one hurt me. So, yeah, man. Oh, even my dog here is getting kind of fussy, like, hi, Cashy. Yeah. Cash, my poochie. I love Cash. He's probably played Omori, and that's why he's reacting. It's like, no, Futaba played that? Oh god, is her depression okay? We should watch the Summer Game Fest and live react to it, maybe? Possibly, but unfortunately, I got work like half an hour. Like, if we have this panel run for an hour and a half, I will have to go to work like 5 minutes after we end the panel there, assuming it's an hour and a half, or we can do an hour and 15. Either way. Believe me though, otherwise I would love to. And especially with regards to that earlier Persona 4 remake chat message. Again, provided I was just being a little too skeptical over rumors and leaks, even when it's otherwise a negative culture, but in this case not necessarily. Assuming it's actually true and it's coming and it's being revealed tonight and or tomorrow, enjoy the rewind, revise, reboot trailer. No, it's a teaser of an announcement. We gotta go back to the Persona 5 Strikers method and for every other game after or before that. Persona 2 remake announcement trust. I'll bet my money on that. I'm gonna take great assault with the Persona 4 remake, but I'll bet my whole life savings on 2. Okay, so Naoto, we're thinking Tetris. Futaba, we're throwing in Omori. Otherwise, she's running the whole ass gambit otherwise, so fair enough. I'm gonna throw out there. Wait. Yes, okay. This one is definitely kind of a crapshoot, especially. But hear me out on this one. Did you just say Cash? Okay, shush. Persona 5 Expanded and Enhanced. Screw that, I think we need a couple years at the minimum before we get a Persona 5 remake. Put that shit on the shelves right now, Atlas. No, give it a $30 DLC. There's only one wave and it's a bunch of costumes. It's just one of those Velvet Room costume packs where they just copy and paste Elizabeth and especially Theodore's costumes on everybody. Yeah, that's right. Doesn't matter if he doesn't fit it. Heismay's getting fucking Theo. He's getting that Theo drip on. But anyway, so um, okay, this is kind of a crapshoot. Just Dance greatest in-universe defender, Yukari Takaba. I said it. I mean, maybe she won't get any and every game for every console and platform under the sun, but when it comes to the latest editions and that goofy, crazy, weird, like simultaneously running with hard copies of them, whack ass subscription service, she'll be on that shit. Let's just chat here and watch Fest at the same time. No worries. You can either just you can listen to both. You can chat in both. I always have the VOD up for this at a later point. So don't you worry. Speaking of which, how's the recording for that? The recording is good. The recording is as planned. Yippee for the recording. but um but yeah, no. I'm throwing it out there. If you don't like Just Dance, that's okay. Yukari will love it. Will love it for you in your stead. Thank you, Yukari. And then also, ooh, okay, slightly kind of twisting the topic here. Which Persona characters do you guys think would be into Dragon Quest or Yakuza slash Like a Dragon? I'm not sure which one is supposed to still be the series name now. Which one do you guys think it would be into? Makoto Yuki would be so good at Rasputin. True. He really can't hit that one part in the song and or dance where it's like, oh, it is drinking and lusting became known to people. He was truly outrageous enough that Jim and the hologram shot him up for being too truly outrageous. I mean, they both came out in the 80s, the song and the stupid dolls and show, so Makoto would be into Yakuza. Fair. Narukami for Dragon Quest. True. He's kind of got that. He's kind of got that dog boy kind of vibe to him. Not as much as like the more puppy-like characters like Ryuji and Koromaru and Ryuji again and Koromaru again and Koromaru 4 more times after that. Actually, yeah, Ryuji too, but like even Narukami, since that was there first, yeah, for a protagonist, he's got that dog in him. He's got that dog, that puppy in him. But then yeah, like I would say for sure Ryuji as well, and then Koromaru, they got the dogs in them. If you let the dogs out, you basically let them open like just yoink right out of their tummies and just run around like the sun. And it's like, yo, they're on the ground dead. Y'all let the dogs out. Sorry, what was I saying? Oh, great. Ooh, one more thing on that topic of which characters play would like what games before we move on. Would any of them be into certain horror games? And if so, which ones? Like Silent Hill, Resident Evil, Guardian of Van Five Nights at Freddy's. Actually, I shouldn't laugh for that last one. It deserves the same respect as Silent Hill. Sorry, Titty Chica. Persona 5 crew plays Phasmophobia together. I can feel it. True. I would also vouch for the investigation team, but then also, even if I'm still like vaguely familiar with the things that make all of them tick, if they lived in the time in the era, or I don't know, maybe since they're fictional Japanese city, I would vouch for the Persona 1 cast as well, especially Mark, Mark and I think maybe even Brown. Yes, those are some of the nicknames for the record. I would say those two especially would be into Phasmophobia. Chilla's art games. That would so be a fucking Maki or Erika one. I think that was her name, the one with the ponytail. Um, Jill's art games, though, I could honestly see people like Futaba being into that for sure. But again, she specifically runs the whole gambit, so I'm not gonna jump into her. Curse you, Futaba, for being like us, playing the whole gamut of video games ever. Fuck you, Futaba. No, I'm kidding, I'm kidding. Dead by Daylight played by Persona 3 crew for the irony. Oh no, I am. No, that no, that did not fly over my head. Because it involves sacrificing and crucifying people and killing them off for the gods in the sky, right? And then there's Matthew Lillard live action Shaggy Springtrap in there now, right? Persona 2 crew would be that one video of the drunk guys playing that Slenderman game. The OG 8 pages or the Unreal Engine one? Either way, though, true. Okay, it was the OG. Yeah, true. True. Actually, I would see the Persona 3 crew like playing the Unreal Engine Arrival. The Arrival is what it was called. Slender the Arrival, the modern, nice looking one. The Unreal Engine 5 one. It's probably not Unreal Engine, but oh yeah. Also, we should probably move that to headcanon. Oopsie. All of the Persona 5 cast plays Mori. Ooh, that's a bit of a hot take, but I honestly could see that. Again, I only just know the basic premise of Amori, if even that, and I could see that still. Okay, that was good though. Excellent work, guys. Soon enough, we'll know enough details about each of these characters to know exactly what they have in their itinerary and/or net worth. We'll know how much each of them is worth, and go rob their places of all that shit. We'll have huge ass net worths in no time. I don't know if that's how it works, but I live in my own kind of world. Kind of march to the beat of my own drum. We brought up Yusuke and Futaba specifically earlier. It's like, oh, they're so weird. I know, I'm one to talk. Okay, actually, another one from No Break here I definitely want to get to, but real quick, just because that was a second one from them, and I don't know if we are fucking streamer mode. Yaz is what I'll call you here. Let's go to their first one here. Getting into the Persona series, and this is actually an anecdote, was the reason I started learning Japanese. I've not been doing my lessons for a while now recently, just too busy with everything. Mood. But I can read katakana and hiragana, understand some basic phrases and words, and just being able to read Choco Banana and Persona 5 Strikers made me happy. I don't even know if it was translated to English dub. I just didn't realize Choco Bananas were actually a thing you could like buy at like I don't know any of the like little pop up stores in like any of the locations. Intriguing though, very interesting. Choco bananas are pretty good IRL. I would agree. I like chocolate. I like bananas. Put them together. Yeah, I'm shocked. I never heard. I haven't had that combo of two things slapped together forever. I only learned that they were an actual thing and not just like some super rare delicacy in like high school. And I mean, like, let's be real. How the fuck did that happen? I don't know. um, but yeah, no, it's like, actually, I'm to be honest, like, I have been somebody who has been wanting to learn several languages or even just the basics of them for a while now. The most I know is like very vague, basic ass Spanish words, and even then, like, super basic. I think I'm like the beginner of beginner Spanish speaking people. And even then, maybe that's a little too generous. And then I only know like a few. I only remember off the top of my head a few of the hiragana and or katakana things. I think Maddie may be recording this, so you can hear a response then. Yeah, don't worry. Basically, I respect that. I will say, especially getting into anime, learning that sushi was a thing, and realizing, oh, I love this stuff. This is great, and then realizing, oh, that's from Japan. Anime comes from Japan. Like even if it's innocuous, I was very much that absolute buffoonish amateur of a tourist. but um, but even that kind of got me thinking like, ooh, Japan seems like a fun place. I want to learn this language. And years later, I maybe know a few things about their culture, but I will never in good conscience act like I'm an expert on it. And God knows I've tried to learn Japanese on Duolingo. Didn't really work out for me. I don't think it's going to work out for me ever in that regard and down that avenue. Referring on to the topic of languages, I can yap. If you want to jot down the ones you want to learn, please do. I don't want to veer us into the deep end of that either. But I guess if you guys are wondering, my dream languages to not be completely daft about are Spanish, Japanese, I believe French. It's very elegant, but also very fucky wucky. So that's exactly why I want to learn that. And I think either German or Chinese or Mandarin. I'm not sure. I think any of those would be pretty fun too. But for sure, Spanish, Japanese, French. The last one, especially for being fucky wucky, but also really nice sounding. Um. Oh, going back to the video games real quick. Senkichi, Sai, and Toshiro, basically the government associated rebels, would play Ace Attorney. True, and then everybody else would watch them play. True, true. Or I guess Vanilla Thieves, Sumi, Sophie Arena. The new game poster girls. That's what they're called, probably, because sadly one of them just had to show up with red in their design, but it's not in their hair. Love you, Arena. What the fuck, Arena? Sorry. Um, but yeah, Persona J, Persona J. If anything, I want to know what that word means. No pressure though, because I guess I probably don't want to veer us into the rock bottom when I'm the panelist. Um, so real quick from Sweaty Face here. I would love to hear people's thoughts on why they love Makoto Nijima, especially considering she's been seen as the top P5 girl in Western audiences. I want to know more. As somebody who doesn't necessarily consider her their favorite, she's part of the group of characters that I like or love. Um, if you're wondering, my goats for the whole series is not just Persona 5 would be from 1 to 3 on Ryuji Yusuke. Then you throw in some 4 and 3 and probably some 2 or 1 later down the road. But I love Haru. I love the spin-off people. I love everybody else, including like Akechi and Joker, and in this case Makoto. The only one that kind of missed the bus for me is Morgana. And even then, it's not necessarily like I hate him as much as it is just kind of just meh. In case you guys are wondering, one, the pros and cons just for him just cancel each other out for me, even the intentional ones either way. And two, if you're a Morgana fan, it's okay. You're not gonna die. I think. Well, I'm not looking out. I'm not looking for y'all's blood. That's not my prerogative here. Nah. And besides, he's cute. He's a cute little shit. But yeah, no. So yeah, for the record, if you love Morgana, that's okay. I totally see that. I'm not gonna bite. If you hate Morgana, hey, just don't go off the deep end, and I can respect that too. You know. But trust me though, it'll be the same thing with Honor, Ryuji, or all of them. If you let it turn you into a little bitch that you hate Mona, I'm gonna be blocking some people. Because apparently that means if I block you specifically on any of my socials, you'll probably get 7 years of bad luck. Maybe. But anyways, no. So I guess for Makoto, going back to Makoto, while she isn't necessarily my favorite, but I do still like her. Um, I can kind of see how people appreciate her as being one of those characters who, um, still isn't like a complete misfit or doesn't start out like a misfit in society, but still, while being considered in the quote unquote upper echelon as a student council president who appears prim and proper and kind of stuck up and snobbish. Um, it turns out that part of that is because she completely bends over backwards for people, and it's not something the game condones, like blackmailing the Phantom Thieves, um, like initially doing nothing to help them figure out what's going on with this um, potential target of theirs that is the only thing standing between them remaining hidden and safe and them all getting yoinked into a jail cell. Um, like, no, it's intentional that hey, good on her for 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 figuring out that these people could have been a little more you know not screaming that they're going to the Fantasies meeting. It's okay, I love him. It's not pointed, I swear. So, um, like in my opinion, um, oh wait, an unpopular character, Hidetoshi. Quick side note: I actually like Hidetoshi. Kind of akin to some similar characters like Makoto. They start out like pricks, but it turns out they're really good people. Just you know, like feeling that they need to go way beyond just bending over backwards to upper echelon authorities or even school faculty that really don't give much of a damn about them when they as soon as they turn away and are like, no, I'm not gonna blackmail so and so, or I'm not gonna pin the one cigarette butt found in the guy's bathroom on this random person that was like 10 yards away from that bathroom anyway because but yeah, no, like I liked Hidetoshi. Like again, yeah, he starts out, prickish and dickish, but I'd be shocked if that wasn't intentional. You know, he gets to be really, really cool. It's okay. I'm normal. I'm normal. I'm normal. So normal about An, Ryuji, Yusuke, Yukari, Mitsuru, Kanji, and Rize, or Kanji or Rize Kanji, depending on the day. And then her nuts, Akiko. It's okay. Welcome to the club. Bad news. We're all very normal, so normal. um, and I also like Marie too. Again, maybe not my favorite, but I really vibed with her. I'm shocked people found her to be something more than she actually was in a negative way, you know. Um, but I mean, I guess hey, your mileage may vary. But I guess my take on Makoto is that like going from somebody who wasn't a misfit but still kind of had to, like kind of like lost some semblance of proper self agency, putting it towards being a snobbish dickhead that blackmails potential fan of thieves. God forbid, honestly, if it turns out the people she was chasing after weren't those people, because, I mean, wouldn't it be the first time the Japanese police pinned, well, according to the game, anyways, and probably if you look at any government or, police force in real life in any country, say the first or the last time they pin a crime on somebody completely innocent and unrelated. But you know, um, like again, I think it's kind of just how she is very much an unconventional member of the group. Like everybody to different extents can fit on a lot better into certain stereotypes and archetypes and like meeting expectations. Some of them do less so. Some of them are like somewhere in that general spectrum. And I think that for one of the characters that like at least after they compromise a lot of who they really are and what they actually think and what their moral code um would really be for them when they really, kind of just self-reflecting on who they are and what they want is not aligned with certain people like Mr. Big Portly Egghead Man who gets I mean who really had a nice epic cool awesome scene with a sweet sweet ice cream twuck at the police station later in the game, but spoilers. Um, but I think that especially as like one of those unconventional rebels, the turnaround can definitely be kind of cool. I personally always kind of like had a love hate relationship with how um she can kind of come off as like incredibly scary to the characters, or at least just like vaguely a little kind of pushing the envelope. I would say a lot of the time it's actually kind of cute. She's very much kind of the tough cookie mom friend as opposed to Haru being the mostly sweet, once on a blue moon, kind of off-putting mom friend. And I do think once on a blue moon, whether it's because of the game at large or just the scenario, just kind of the like one scenario or two, kind of blowing it out of proportion, doing a little flanderizing and just injustice to her character. But like again, when it's cute and when it hits, it's really cute and it really hits to me. And again, that's my take. These are all our takes, and that's my take. I think the role Makoto contributed when first introduced is something that the thieves needed in a narrative sense. True. I would agree with that as well. Um, I do think that once on a blue moon, characters that came before Makoto can definitely kind of feel like kind of a like I don't know, like legacy characters in the same game they originate from, as opposed to like still mainstaying members of the team. But it's in my opinion that I also don't think that aspect is nearly as egregious as some people believe it to be. Apparently, like I'm not gonna act like On and Ryuji are always at the front and center of every little scenario, but I do think they're not nearly as like pushed to the background as some people claim, or as I insinuated people to insinuate. Um, I love the end parts of Persona 5 Tactica when Toshiro ruined his career to shit talk his dad. Tactica as a whole was really good. I still prefer Strikers as the direct-ish sequel spin-off to Persona 5, but Tactica was so damn good with story-wise. Gameplay-wise, great. I wish there was a lot more to it, but especially with the story, I can understand why they might have been kind of running out of steam by like after like three palaces and one boss gauntlet. Like by that point, it's like, okay, get in the final boss. Yeah, let's just let the story carry a lot of this. But as somebody who loved games like Mario plus Rabbids, I thought what was there in Tactica was really cool. But yeah. Oh no, don't get me wrong. I understand why people might actually be vice versa. Why Tactica's story and even the gameplay, very Mario plus Rabbids esque, would be more up their alley than Strikers. I'm not gonna act like Strikers is like a completely new other ball game too. It is, however intentional, it is especially derivative of what's come before. But yeah, no, Toshiro and Arena, especially in that game, very much stole the show for sure. And that is coming from somebody who still thinks again the Fan and Thieves still play a really fun, cool, nice like semi legacy, semi still understanding their own traumas and struggles kind of thing. Like even so, Toshiro and Arita I got a bit stole the show. um, but yeah, so um, real quick, let's see here. So yeah, that's again, and all that going back to that's my take on Makoto. It seems like okay. So since it seems like we've gotten through as many of the thread tidbits for right now, with one exception. Real quick, I'm just gonna go back to this one additional one from Nobrick, but also kind of expand on it. So let's try in this chat right now for like a couple minutes apiece, or even just shouting out basic ass like gameplay ideas for each of them. How would you guys pitch spin-off games for each of the excluding Joker and probably Morgana? Seven, I think. Because if we had to exclude Joker and Mona, but we also didn't want to get into Royal or Strikers or Tactica territory, it's like seven Fan of Thieves. What would you guys pitch? So basically, what would you guys pitch their spin-off games as? Um, because who knows? Maybe it'd be as simple as like, oh, this one Flash game where you pretend to be Ryuji bodybuilding or Yusuke creating art, but it's just one of those like Art Academy things on Nintendo consoles. Um, or even then, but in my head, it's like I don't know. Maybe they could give it the a full big crude passion project kind of thing where um like Akechi would be doing this in his spin-off, and then Makoto would have a character based study spin-off where she would be doing this and that. And then I don't know. Basically, how would you guys pitch at least the gameplay or genre of game for like if each of the seven vanilla Phantom Thief characters got like spin-offs. Um, this is much but the Yusuke spin-off seems like it'd be a very artistic passion project about an artist's place in society. Ooh, go on with that if you're able to, but no pressure because if you're insinuating it'd be more than like some Art Academy knockoff, I'm genuinely interested. Would it be like an RPG where he just it's like instead of turn-based combat or turn-based persona using, it's turn-based poetic artistry waxing? Specifically think about how artists are treated. Oh, a pass part outs like game. Being fate artist and working his way out of poverty. I am actually not familiar with that. Let me look that up real quick. Pass part out. Oh my god. I didn't realize it was a story. Oh my god. Oh. Ah. I see. Yusuke enters the ring and beats up AI art. Based! Actually, even more based. That's just one, like, little segment of this whole passport out. Knockoff. You know? That would be actually really cool, though. I would like a game based on Futaba's rise to Medjet fame. Ooh. Like going into it, like an origin story, or jumping back into it after everything? That would actually be interesting, though. I guess real quick though, going back to Nobrick's initial prompt because hey, I know that name from somewhere, but I just can't put it. I just it's off my tongue. I can't think of where he's come from. Nah, seriously though, hear me out. On and or Haru in a in something not completely unlike Princess Peach Showtime. I honestly really like that game. It was definitely kind of rudimentary, and like sometimes if you wanted to collect things, going back and restarting the levels to get everything was kind of an eye roller. But I really did like how it was just kind of a little like gauntlet or like little love letter to all these different like genres or subgenres of games, like stealth, 2D platforming and or side scrolling, a little bit of rhythm games in there. Um, Actually two different rhythm games if you count both Mermaid and Figure Skater. I would think something like that, but with either on Haru or both, would be really cool. Right down to them being like on a stage or performing for the camera or dancing for the stage and or camera. I think that might actually be really cool. Would it fit any of the other characters? I mean, it depends. I do think with characters like Yusuke, Futaba, actually no, for maybe Yusuke, especially Futaba and Ryuji, and especially Makoto. Not in bad ways. Don't get me wrong. I do think they'd have to do a little legwork to write them all in. Just like why would they want to be here with On and or Haru? But I do think like if you wanted to put them all into a little spin-off where Joker and or like the main protagonist and his and the mascot and all the royal and spin-off characters are all fucking off somewhere else. Like I think that could work. I don't know. Because On and Haru are cool. Duh. True. True. It's just like oh it's like, oh hi, I'm Ryuji. Hi, I'm Yusuke. Hi, I'm Futaba. Hi, Makoto. Hi, we're TV's these four specific Persona 5 characters. A theater? Oh, wait, Audit Haru in there? Well, shit, let's get in there. We're Nintendo princesses too. Major Persona 5 royal spoilers from this message from Noir, just heads up. A short episodic animated series or spin-off about the Yoshizawa sister's life, ending with when Katsumi dies. That would be so. That would be. I would personally be scared of ending the game or the series just to see her die. But I'd be lying to say I wasn't interested. I'd just probably completely love and hate the ending knowing what's coming. But I guess that's my issue. My loss, you know? Your Lion April vibes. It just makes it worse. That just makes it worse. No! Nah, I'm kidding though. I'm kidding though. That would actually work too. This will happen when the Persona 5 Royal anime comes. I'm delusional. Then we're all delusional. Or at least I'm delusional, because guess who wouldn't be too shocked by that? I would actually be cool with it if they got better animation. So defend and cross their fingers, therefore it doesn't count. And somehow, because of MC powers, Joker would get away with it. Especially in the metaverse as Joker, you know, for real. Trust, it's true. Okay, so I think that is about almost all the time we have left. Not fully, but almost. I think for the last 6 minutes, let's do a lightning round. Let's do a lightning round. Basically, everybody shoot out your favorite games, favorite characters. Even if they're not your favorite characters, what are some scenes in some games you liked? Tell me a headcanon about certain characters you like or are your favorites. Just go off. Go off, my royals. Go. Go insane. Persona 5 and Persona 2. Valid. Several people say me yes! I like on plush. Based! Shout out Hidetoshi Odagiri. I hate him. He's ruined my life. I love him so bad. I agree. He just ruined my life right now. Thank you, Hidetoshi. You just ruined my life now. What the fuck, bro? I like on. Mine might or might not relate. Makoto Yuki is my favorite character. 3 is my favorite, followed by 1. Based. I like Persona 5 Royal. Might or might not relate to, not gonna lie. Well, actually, no, I'm just gonna ruin the joke if I come clean about it, so. No, I don't know what those. I don't know what that is. Oh, sorry. Like MTFR. Does that stand for Metaphor Refantasio? Or Metaphor Rantasio? I like Metaphor. Same. Same. Metaphor Rantasio. Oh, server tag. Oh, fuck yeah. I'm sorry. My bad. I didn't realize what that was. I'm so sorry. At least it showed up private to me, if only because of the streamer mode, but thank God. um, yeah. I guess my favorites 5, original, royal, either way. Probably my favorite. And then top 10 characters for me in the whole series so far. Okay. From number 1 to number 10. On Ryuji, Yusuke, Yukari, Mitsuru, Kanji, Rize, or Rize, Kanji. Maybe both in 6th place in a tie. Kind of depends on the day. Haru, Akihiko, Naoto. Or is it Naoto, Akihiko? I think they also got to flip flop too. I like so many characters, I can't pick just one. Honestly, true. That's fair. That's fair. I mean, I got my top 10, but even then, like, a good chunk of the other characters go into S tier. I think the only ones I, like, really, really dislike that would be in, like, F tier are the villains you love to hate. And even then, it's intentional that you love to hate these villains, and I can't act like the villains I loathe, therefore, are, you know, terrible characters or are poorly written. Like, I hate Kamoshida, and he's still the one thing I always dread about going back to play Royal or the original. Doesn't mean he's poorly written. I just fucking hate his fugly ass guts and his equally disgusting, repulsive physical presence in game. I wish he died, but at the same time, if anything, it was a greater fate worse than death to be in jail and rot for his crimes. So I suppose whether I like it or not, even if I didn't get to kill him myself, maybe I catch you at a point, but that's getting a little rambly. But otherwise, On was pretty cool for that. Actually, that's a detail I kind of wanted to talk about going on to that. So something I actually noticed a while ago, and then initially would be like, oh, actually, yeah, I guess that's kind of a bummer. Is that somebody mentioned how like when it came down to like finally confronting Kamoshida face to face on Ryuji, Morgana, Joker all together, um, somebody mentioned how like by that point in the boss, because again, it was like, oh, I mean, maybe, but then I kind of thought about it, and it's like, well, hold on a second. I mean, I could see, but so the thing is, people were like, yeah, so why didn't Ryuji get a say in what happened to Kamoshida there? Why did An get the big speech and not him? I would say honestly, he kind of has his equivalent to An's like point after the boss battle there for like a lot, pretty much all of the other major cutscenes, um, where like they have some equal or like negotiable footing with other characters or NPCs or Kamoshida himself in that palace. Um, in my opinion, especially since like I don't think it diminishes Ryuji's trauma to give the call for what they do with post boss Shadow Kamoshida to On. I don't think that's necessarily mitigating what he went through either. Not really. I think that the the difference between what but the difference between then versus now is that for like the entirety of the palace being like a known location of some mysterious sort in the game and or to any of the characters we've been following up to that point, I would say the thing about it is the same thing about it is um I would say that especially that time Ryuji especially was already like taking a stand against Kamoshida to some extent. And I would say that kind of his equivalent to ongoing off on him after like right after that boss battle Ryuji kind of had for a long like however many times you've been going in to explore the palace itself, especially when he had initially I mean like really had his like large somewhat climactic trauma or trauma point um like that happened when he especially was kind of like turned around and said no fuck you creep um with On, I always interpreted it as like she, if she could, she would say that, and she does tell you like before, if April 15th, I believe it is the day that she awakens. But then even before that, unfortunately, Shiho tries to take her own life. Um, like if she could say the same thing to Ryuji, like I mean, no, if she could say the same thing as Ryuji, like turn to Kamoshida and say no, fuck you, like she would, but she still felt at that time still that she really couldn't. So I think it's as kind of as simple as father being in jail and reload. Oh, Hidetoshi? Right. Oh, because I was looking that up like, wait, why was this out of the remake? Again, for me, the pros for reload outweigh the cons, but I can see why it's like, that was kind of a good point to bring up. What the hell? But no, but I think for me, it's like, it's as simple as just that, I mean, like, I think then for that latter half of Kamoshida's palace, it was all down to On now finally, like, now realizing that by awakening, she's also turned around to Kamoshida and finally said, no, fuck you. Like, it was kind of her turn then to really get it, like, really understand that she shouldn't have had to bend over backwards for him there. And, like, she should completely own that, for lack of a better word. Like, kind of like that. I don't know. Basically, it's like, whereas the first half of that whole arc, I would say that was kind of Ryuji's thing. By the time we meet On and we've like formed our initial quartet, I would say that's when it was On's turn to step up to the plate. Like, okay, I told them no, and I was completely right to do that. Now is the time to very much own up to me finally putting my foot down in front of this creep. I think it's just as simple as like they took two different halves of that same arc to really put their foot down and keep it stamped down flat on the ground in front of him. Um, but no, that's my take on that's my take on that because like I've seen some people be like, "Oh, why didn't Ryuji get a say?" I don't think it's necessarily that he did or didn't get a say in whether Kamoshida got to still live and have a change of heart or if they would just kill him and get him out of their way. And like, either way, like his victims and survivors would hopefully be able to move on from then hopefully I would say by that point If anything, I feel like even Ryuji would kind of be was kind of in the background with Joker and Morgana, like, yeah, that choice is now up to her at this point. She's still gotta, kind of keep her foot put down and then staying flat put down. If that makes sense. I'm not sure. Again, dude, that's just my opinion. Any more a little more favorites, anecdotes, takes, headcanons, favorites, because I think it's about time for us to go. My voice is running out. Twice. Valid. My dog is snoring. Puppy. Oh, he's snoring. Oh, my voice is going. Oh. Nonsensical, apparently. It's nonsensical, but that's just your opinion that it's nonsensical. Headcanon on Hidetoshi is that he knows how to play the drums. True. That's why they got rid of the possible band club in Persona 3 Reload. He already got into it aside from being in the student council. He's fucking up. He's fucking it up. He's eating on the drums. He's left no crumbs. True, true. Um, actually, same, but also I would say if there's another playable character in Persona 3 that would actually be able to do a mean band instrument or play a good instrument and do so goodly and meanly, Mitsuru on the saxophone. Or cello. Or is it cello? Cello? I would say she's either a good saxophonist or cellist. Yes. So it's okay. We can both have nonsensical headcanons. We can all have nonsensical headcanons. But when it's completely harmless, innocuous, and fun, nobody can tell us otherwise. The haters will hate, but then the people who will beat up the haters to a pulp will be us, beating the haters up to a pulp. Welcome to Chat and Chill PersonaCon 2025, where we have a positivity oriented discussion on how we're gonna beat up our haters. Just as we beat up all the unbelievers. They will fall for the Hidetoshi drums, Mitsuru saxophone, and or cello propaganda. The agenda shall reign supreme. Woo! Any last ones? I'll give you guys 20 seconds. No place at all. Why am I making funny noises? I don't know. Why am I alive? Why am I here? You could ask the same thing about those. Why am I making funny noises or voices? We just do. We just do that. That is a cute, yeah. For some reason, I thought that was a ghost. Or I guess like Charlie Brown, but with a not shitty bedsheet ghost. Sheet. Costume sheet. Very random, I know. I just I just poorly interpreted an emote. To be fair, I sometimes think like several too many emotes are like one thing when they're actually another when I actually look at the damn things. You wake up and act silly. That's just that's just a way of life. That is a way of life that needs to start becoming more mainstream. Absolutely. Well, I think I must let you all go. It is time to stop holding like several bajillion, more or less, Discord users in captivity for an hour. The power hour that was this chat and chill hour is over for this hour of the year until the next hour of the next year. Thank you all. And this Monday, if you've been here in the early years of PersonaCon, if you remember the PowerPoint Symposium shenanigans, they're back this Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. For me, it's 1 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time. Yes, and for better and for worse, I live 2 hours ahead of, or 2 hours behind Eastern time. But yes, thank you all so much for being nerds with me. At least we all know, if it wasn't obvious already, it's obvious now. We're not the only nerds in our own little worlds. We're all in this together, and the unbelievers will be the ones to pay for it. Have a very positive PersonaCon where you remember to beat up the unbelievers. Is my impression of toxic positivity accurate? I don't know if that's an accurate impression of toxic positivity, but if so, perfect. At least I know what to watch out for, IRL. Thank you all so much, though. And until next time, and or this Monday for PowerPoint Symposium being regurgitated. Take care. Have a good one. Bye bye.